Are you gonna do your flippy thing during this video at all?
Do you want me to?
I don't know. Maybe if it calls for it. Only if what we're talking about calls for
Let
it.
me flip to the other side.
Rob, hello, Rob.
Hi.
We are. I don't think I have a name for this yet.
I was
as
about
of
to ask,
what
what's
we're
the series name?
we, like many of your series, I don't have a name yet. But we are going to be talking about the best of and the worst of in video games, and not just overall video games. We're going to be looking at publishers, developers, franchises, topics. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot we could cover.
Can you make this series like 3 times a week? Because I'm already coming up with tons of ideas that I want to do.
I don't want to make any promises.
Fine, 4 times a week. Listen, there's so many good topics we could cover.
The one we're going to start with today, which I thought would be a really fun one.
Chess games.
Favorite chess game, go.
The Masters of Chess, the one with the old guy who looks like Ian, what's his face from Lord of the Rings.
Was it like in a bargain bin or something?
No, it's just like the chess game. He's always like this. I'll find it and send it to you.
Okay.
Like Wizards of Chess or something.
No, the topic for today is the best and worst of Ubisoft.
Yeah, Ubisoft.
Ubisoft. I say Ubisoft. How do they say it? How do they say it on the... Do they... Oh,
I think it's...
Whatever,
Ubisoft.
guys. I'm going to say Ubisoft, because I'm
That's
just
what
going to be that
developers say.
You know, potato, potato. So should we start with the worst or the best?
Your show. I get to relax and sit back for once.
All right, let's start.
The reins.
Let's start with the bad news first.
Okay.
Let's start with
the worst.
The worst.
Okay.
Ubisoft game. Whatever. I'm gonna keep doing that this whole video. I had to set a precedent that I had to be games that I actually played, because I probably would have just been like Just Dance or CSI every single Windows game that came out.
And I feel like it's worth noting that like Ubisoft's history before, or wait, am I thinking of the whole other company? No, I'm thinking of a whole other company. Never mind. I forget. It was the people who did. It was the people who did Saints Row who like started off doing all the like really bad video game movies. I don't know why I'm blanking on their name now. Yeah. So it was like SpongeBob the game. And like I feel like that stuff doesn't really count because they're not,
Ubisoft also did Avatar the game, so that's not saying much. One of my worst games that you might disagree with actually is the first Far Cry. Yeah. There's just a reaction.
I don't disagree with you.
Okay,
the first Far Cry, like
the very first Far Cry.
Yeah.
I remember picking it up and playing it, and I don't think I got more than a few hours into it. It just was really slow, and there was a lot of weird glitchy things going on, and I didn't understand what was happening in the story. Like, it was not good. Like, I normally don't give up on video games. I usually try to see them through. I gave up after maybe I gave it a good 4 or 5 hours, and I was like, done.
I don't remember much about it. Here's what I remember about Far Cry is like, I remember that was before Half-Life 2 came out, or it was and I remember Half-Life 2 was getting a lot of hype for like, wow, this game's gorgeous. Look how gorgeous this game is. It's going to be the new bar. And then all of a sudden Far Cry came out and it looked really nice. And I wasn't able to run it on a machine powerful enough for it to look good. But I remember people going like, oh, look, it beat Far Cry 2. It beat Half-Life 2 to the punch, and it looks great.
Right.
It sort of stole Half-Life's thunder a little bit, although obviously I think looking back now we can see which ones lasted the test of time. But yeah, I don't remember. I love Far Cry. I love Far Cry 2, 3, 4, Blood Dragon, whatever else they throw out there.
Right.
I'm a little iffy on Primal, but Far Cry 1 I never really did anything.
Yeah. And I just think it's interesting because I feel like normally you think of the first of a franchise being not great, that maybe it wouldn't survive. And it's super interesting that like now it's become this really great franchise.
Well, also I feel like that's become Ubisoft's sort of, I don't want to say MO because it's not like they planned for the first one to be bad, but like, I mean, we saw that with Assassin's Creed, where one was like okay but not great. It had flaws, and then they improved on them. For clarification, we didn't really specify whether you meant Ubisoft, the developer, or the publisher. So I went with publisher.
That's fair.
So mine is a Techland game called Call of Juarez: The Cartel.
Yes.
2011. It was just, it it was one of those games where it's like, how did they go through the entire development process where nobody was like, excuse me, this is the dumbest idea I've ever heard. Let's take this Western franchise that is starting to gain solid footing for being a Western in a space where there just aren't a whole lot of first-person Westerns, and let's make it modern day in LA where you're fighting gang members. And you couldn't even argue like, oh, they're trying to chase after the Call of Duty demographic, because that's not the Call of Duty demographic. It's just like, what were you thinking? Like, oh, you thought people were going to get bored with like one of the most iconic genres of film in the last like 60 years? Okay. It was just a dumb idea. The story was super stupid. It was like a 4 or 5 hour game. I had to play through the whole thing when I was working at Howcast to do their their walkthrough. Yikes. And it was just like, I hated every second of it. And I was just so bitter because I loved the idea of a Western first-person shooter. Keep in mind, this was around or pre... I don't know if it was pre or after Red Dead. It might have been the year after Red Dead. So it was like Westerns, there just weren't a lot to go with. There still aren't a lot to go with. And so for them to throw out a Western to do the Cartel was just so disappointing. And the thing is, it wasn't really super buggy. I know a lot of people hate on Ubisoft because they put out unfinished or buggy or unpolished games, and that's totally fair. But like, that wasn't why I hated it. I hated it because the story was stupid. The characters were forgettable. It was just a dumb premise, and it
so
just
much anger.
Why would you just change the name? Just call it the Cartel, and it just not make it a Call of Juarez game, and it would have been fine. But why do you have to make it a Call of Juarez game? It makes no sense. And they tried some stupid thing where it was like the grandson of the guy from Call of Juarez, or something dumb like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I try to eject all of this from my brain, except when you pitched this idea and you said Ubisoft, that was like, went right to it.
Right.
And we're in an industry right now where the people online take mediocre and convert it into the worst ever. Like, this is an abomination. Like, there are real abominations out there, and maybe I'm contributing to that by making the Cartel my worst, because I'm sure there's
abomination. I'm just gonna put that across the screen.
Yeah, abominations. But as far as what I've played, that was the worst.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, rant over. Sorry.
All right, so then let's move on to the best.
Okay.
That they've put out. I actually have 2 on this list. So let's start with Assassin's Creed, because that is their biggest franchise, I would say, like their most well-known franchise. And I think this game is probably, for me, the best game that they've put out. And
PSP game?
No, but we're definitely going to disagree on this, because you and I, we've had discussions about Assassin's Creed. We have pretty different reactions to each one.
I think I know where you're going with it, yeah.
But my favorite one that actually beat out 2 and has beat out most of just Ubisoft's games for me is, I see you shaking your head, Black Flag. Wow, you're just killing me right now. Black Flag was so good. I think my thing is by the time that Black Flag came out, I was a little sick of Ezio. We had we had 2, we had Revelations, we had Brotherhood.
That was it.
Was there anything? Was that it with him?
It was just 3 games. But I mean, three games. It felt overdue, because they were like, Assassin's Creed 1, Assassin's Creed 2, Psych, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Okay, now, nope, Psych again, Assassin's Creed Revelations.
Yeah. And like, Ezio's like 80 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, Pirates, that just like kind of wins for me in general. I think that the main character, Kenway, was so... I don't know. He's just so charming. It was just refreshing. I really didn't like Assassin's Creed 3 very much. I won't lie.
I don't think that's very different from most opinions.
Yeah, and I think we all agree that, what was his name?
What, in 3? Connor?
Yeah, Connor. I think we would agree that, see, I can't remember his name. He's not a very memorable, like, lead character for Assassin's Creed, and I think that Kenway just kind of brought it back.
Right.
And he's really charming, and he's charismatic, and he's everything a pirate should be, kind of, you know.
He's the Jack Sparrow, but toned down.
Yes. And I loved the ship battles. I thought they were just so well done. I could have spent that whole game doing nothing but taking down ships and fortresses. Like, I think that was the highlight of the game, which was interesting in a game that's all about the free running and, like, all of that stuff, that they did that so well. I really like the story. I really love the ending and how they tied it in with previous characters to come, that whole thing. I don't know, it was the game that got me reinvigorated with Assassin's Creed at a point where I thought I was done. And I really thought, like, I don't know if I'm going to play another one of these again. Black Flag was, like, got me back there.
So, I mean, I was shaking my head. It's a great Assassin's Creed and one of the better ones. But, like, I think my, not issue with it is that it's like, let's be honest, the bulk of why you love it is the ship-to-ship combat, which is like, if Ubisoft put out a pirate game, I think that'd be great. And I don't think it hurt the game at all. I just think as far as like to say it was the best Assassin's Creed because of this like one-time combat mechanic that's not what I is said. Like a little.
I mean, I also like the character better than. But I think that's what a lot of people think. And true. So, and for me also, that was the one where I love Assassin's Creed. I played every single one. I've the Vita ones, I love them. But for me, that's where I jump ship. That's where I jumped ship on the modern day plot because it was post 3, right? 3 wrapped up that little arc and hate it or love it, it was what it was. But like 4 by the end, I was like, oh, okay, so they really don't know what they're doing with this. They're just sort of making up the modern aspect on the fly. 4 was the one where you were the employee.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, this is neat. But it's just, or the way it ties into the whole, the Apple of Eden and stuff. It's just like, okay, now I feel like, is this what people who hated Lost felt like? I never watched it. Like,
I loved Lost.
I just feel like so they don't know the direction they're going in. I don't know.
Maybe
but
I love Lost and I love Black Flag, and that makes sense. It's just,
it's fair.
I'm one of those people.
So my number one, or my best game, sorry, I'm still in top 3 mode. My best game by Ubisoft is by Ubisoft Montpellier, and it is Valiant Hearts: The Great War, which came out in 2014.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, like I said, I'm a diehard Assassin's Creed fan. I almost thought that was going to be on the list, but this one, to me, is the best Ubisoft game I've ever played. It is the 2D side-scrolling sort of puzzle game. Takes place in World War I. It's very beautifully rendered. It's sort of like this artistic, cartoony vibe. It's not very realistic. And you play as 4 different people in World War I on different sides of the battle. And I love it. And not to get too serious or, down for a second, but I loved it because it, one, was a war game that wasn't about killing other people. It was a war game that didn't, glorify war. It very much, it didn't even, I don't even think it vilified it. It was just a matter of like, look, this is how totally average people could get pulled into it and how it could ruin their lives. And, it was a game that the first time I played it, at the end, I cried. It was like so well put together and sad and fun to play and educational. I said something very brash when it was done, which is I feel like anybody who plays a Call of Duty or a Medal of Honor or a, whatever shooter game should be forced to play this game first, just to balance the scales of like how war is depicted in video games. And the best part about it is it's like on multiple platforms now. I think you could get it on iOS. You get it on your Vita. You get it on
PS4,
pretty much anything. Yeah,
Steam.
It's like dirt cheap. Steam sale. It's like under $10, I imagine at points. Yeah. So like everyone should get and play this game. It's so good.
The other one that I'll talk a bit more quickly about is the first Prince of Persia that they put out, Sands of Time. I'm a huge fan of the Prince of Persia series. Granted, I will say that the third one, not as good as the first one. That tends to happen with a lot of franchises. But the very first one, Sands of Time, I believe originally came out like GameCube era. And at the time looked really pretty. Was just an interesting way to bring back a really old franchise, because this was a game that had been out on NES and even before that, I think. Like it was an old game, like an old platforming game that had no real story. And they took it and they made this really great story out of it. One that actually got me kind of emotionally at the end of it. Just has a really great ending to it. You actually get kind of invested in the prince and the character. He's also a very charismatic character. I almost feel like it's a predecessor to Assassin's Creed. It definitely has that feel, and the running walls and like doing all the climbing and all that cool stuff, and even like the way you can kill guys and stuff was very reminiscent of like assassinations in Assassin's Creed. I feel like the game still holds up. Like, I go back to it every couple of years and play through it, and it's not too long. I think it's maybe like a 6 or 7 hour game. And it just still holds up as a really good game. Great music, really great soundtrack. I don't know, it's like gold standard for me, especially of that era, especially of like the GameCube era. I think it was one of the best games that came out. Well, that's it. That's our best and worst of Ubisoft, which is a lot of games. I keep saying Ubisoft, this is gonna bother me.
And then the cheesy joke that I would always hear on the podcast was then the reply is, no, Ubisoft. And that's how it burned into my mind forever.
That's fair. But anyway, this is our best and our worst of their games. We have plenty of other ideas of videos we want to do, but if you guys have any ideas of developers, publishers, franchises, even systems, Star Wars, just whole topics of Star Wars. I mean, I guess we're just gonna do that one now, right? Because you just said it. So.
You got another 20 minutes. I mean.
But no, I mean, we're gonna do it, so you guys should request something else, because now we're just gonna do Star Wars. But if you have any ideas of what you'd like us to, like, put up, against each other, best and worst, you can leave it in the comments. You can hit us up on Twitter. I'm at IvyWinterYT. Rob.
I'm at Rob Plays.
Yep, so just let us know. And if you like this series, please feel free to subscribe. And also check out Rob's channel. If it wasn't for Rob, I wouldn't have a channel. So you should go to his channel, because his stuff is amazing.
It's Rob Plays That Game. And so is like my channel like you're the godfather to your channel?
Yours is like my Jedi Master, and I'm the Padawan.
So like you're the Luke and I'm the Obi-Wan?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then so Darth Vader is like the copyright strikes, and I'm gonna get struck down.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't want that to happen.
Anyway, thank you for joining me, Rob, and thanks for watching, guys. And have a great rest of the day. Bye.
Bye. Go play Valiant Heart.